Hello everyone, my name is Blessing Olaleye. I'm going to be taking us through this session to configure and work with CodeCommit from the CLI. Our objective for this session is to create a server from an Amazon Linux 2 AMI. Then we're going to install Git and create our IAM CodeCommit credentials. And afterward, we're going to create CodeCommit repository. So once again, we're looking at configure and to work with CodeCommit from the CLI. So we have our IAM username and password, and we're going to log in right now. So we are logging into the AWS console, and this is the console homepage. And this is, we can see the interface. A good understanding of this session is to help us go through the process of configuring a CodeCommit repository from the AWS Command Line Interface. We're also going to go through some key prerequisite steps, such as installing Git, configuring HTTPS credential, and preparing the environment to work with Git and CodeCommit. During this session, we cover the step that is required to be taken anytime we need to work with CodeCommit from the CLI or the command line interface. So basically, we're going to proceed now. And the first thing we're going to be doing is to create a server from an Amazon Linux 2 AMI. So we're going to go to EC2 Instance to create a server from an Amazon Linux 2 AMI. That is the Amazon machine image. So we can access our EC2 from compute by clicking on services. We can see compute here. So we can see EC2 virtual server in the cloud. Remember, this step currently is create a server from an Amazon Linux 2 AMI. So EC2 is Amazon virtual server in the cloud. Another way to access EC2 from the console is by clicking here. We can basically type EC2 here, and then we'll be able to see our EC2 instances. So, but for me, because for this lab, we can see that because of frequent usage, we can see EC2 probably somewhere around there. So I recently visited, we can see EC2 here. So I will just click on EC2 here, and then that's going to open the page for the EC2 instances for us. And we can proceed to launch our EC2 instance. So now I'm going to proceed to launch the EC2 instance, and I'm going to click on launch instance. So the instance is launching. So basically, just to explain what we had earlier as our objective, we can see the developer here is to creating AWS CodeCommit, and of course they're going to create a repository. After making a repository, probably dump an item, make an item into the repository. After which it's going to make a clone of the repository to the local machine, and probably just do a little bit of changes. And after that change has been done, which is another version of the item in the repository, it's probably going to do a commit before doing a commit to the local machine before doing a push back to the main repository. So that is just basically that. Now back to our console, our AWS console, EC2 management console. Here we are at the stage of launching our EC2 instance, which is the first step we are going to take. Remember the steps listed to us earlier. We are creating a server. We are creating a server from an Amazon Linux 2 AMI. Afterward, we're going to install Git and create our IAM CodeCommit credential following by creating code commit repository. These are the steps required whenever we need these steps to be taken when we are working with code commit from the CLI. So we are going to basically just launch our EC2 instance right now, and then doing that, this is the new experience. That is the new interface. So I'm going to go with the old experience. I'm just going to opt for the old experience. So remain in an old experience. So in the old experience, we can see the interface. Probably some of us that have been using this will be familiar with the old experience. In this place, we can see these two Amazon Linux 2 AMI, HVM kernel 5.10, SSD volume type, and we have the 64-bit. Then we also have another one which is also free tier. These two are free tier, so we're just going to go with the first one basically for this experience, for this situation. So, and then we have the T2 micro free tier eligibility. So we have our EBS storage, EBS only. That's elastable. So just leave everything like that, and we go to configure instance detail. So on this section, we're going to, that's configure instance detail. We're just going to leave everything as the same, but basically just enable our auto assign public IP, and then just to review and launch. So we leave every other thing the same for this purpose, and then we just click launch. So now, because it's asking us to choose an either choose an existing key pair. I don't have an existing key pair. Create a new key pair or proceed without the key pair. We're going to proceed without the key pair because we're not going to work with SSH. So just proceed without the key pair. We're going to use the, so let's just proceed without a key pair. Launch, and then we're going to launch our instance right there. So now we can just basically just view our instance. It should be ready or it should be pending. It's pending right now, so probably just after some minutes we just run a refresh, and then we can then see into our EC2 instance that has been created. Let us just do a quick refresh. It's still pending. It's still pending. So now we can see it's running, and then it's basically running, and it's initializing. Status check is initializing. You can see because it's initializing, we can't really connect right now. So I'm sure once it's we can refresh, and then it's still initializing. So we need it to be fully up and running so that we can be able to connect into the EC2 instance, and then do some update and probably install Git, and then do every other thing we need to do with regards to code commit. Let us once again do a refresh. So it's taking a while. So we can see right now, clicking on the instance, we can basically connect from here, and we'll click on connect. So we have the EC2 instance connect. We're going to use this EC2 instance connect. we have the session manager, we have the SSH client, we have the EC2 serial console. So let's just continue with the EC2 instance connect, and we're going to click connect. So it's loading our CLI. So now we can see our terminal, and then we can see run sudo yum update to apply all updates. So basically just run sudo yum update to apply yum update to our EC2 instance. Sudo yum update -while yes. So let's just press enter and see what is gonna happen. So it's applying the update to our EC2 instance. After we're going to install Git with our sudo yum install command, Git command. So it's still installing the update. It should be done in few seconds or minutes. Now we're done with the update. Let's just install Git right now. Sudo yum install git -y. So we're installing Git. After this installation is complete, which is complete right now, we just go back to AWS console, and then let's go back to AWS console. So at AWS console, we just go there and access our user. So for the user, we go to IAM. So we come here and type IAM for easy access. We can see IAM popping up, then we just click on IAM. So a user has been created. So, but if you don't actually have a user, you probably just have to create a user to assign the policy, the code commit policy for this purpose. But we already have a user created for this purpose. So when we click here, we're going to see the user. A cloud user is here, which has been created 12 minutes ago. So for this purpose. However, if you don't have a user, you need to just create a new user for yourself, and then so you can work with that new user, and then you actually have to, so like you can add a new user. So once you add a new user, follow the process of adding the new user. You can assign a permission. You can assign permission for the new user. So let's just go through the process of assigning permission for the new user. So we just click on the new user right now. This user already have permission, but I'm just going to take us through the process of assigning permission to the new user, so we can have an understanding of how to do it on our own. But for this session, the user already have a permission. So this is the process. Permission. Once you click on the user, you come to permission section. You see add permission. Then we go to add existing policies directly. So here you can basically type AWS CodeCommit. So we can say AWS CodeCommit full access. So this is the full access for this developer to be able to do a lot of things required with CodeCommit on the CLI. So we can just, if for person that haven't that have users that are yet to have this policy assigned to them, just click review. But for this session, because I already have it with the user, I'm just going to press cancel. So that is I think we can see that already. So that's for that. Then one thing I'm going to do before I exit this session is our security credentials. We're going to generate and download two security credentials. One is the access key credentials, and the other one is the HTTPS Git credentials for AWS CodeCommit. We need this one to do a lot of things with CodeCommit, to do cloning and to do push. So for the first one we're going to download is this one so that we can be able to configure our EC2 instance. To configure the EC2 instance, to run AWS config, we have to get this, So let's just generate this. Upon generating this, we just do download. So you can follow the warning and then take every necessary security precautions as required. So just download this and then close it. So it's going to be my download folder, and I'm going to work with that when the time comes. So afterward, then we also need to generate our Git credentials. So that is the HTTPS Git credentials for AWS CodeCommit. Just click on generate credential, and it has generated for us. So download it so that we won't, lose it. It's going to be in our download folder. Then we close it. So that has been done, and we can basically just that has been done. So now it's time to go back to our terminal and then run AWS config to configure our server, our EC2 instance. So let's just come back to here, and we can now run AWS config. So let's go with that. You press enter. So now it's asking us for our access key ID. So these are the credentials that have been downloaded. They will just show them. Then that is cloud user access key. So we can just show in folder. So I want to be sure I'm working with the real credentials so I don't have an error. So I don't have an error. If I copy the wrong credential, it's going to come out with an error. So sorry. So we are back to our CLI. The terminal, we just put this and paste. Then we go back again and copy the password, the secret access key. I will call it a password, but it's actually called the secret access key. This is access key ID, and this is the secret access key. It's more like the password. So basically, we just paste that. We just paste that. We press enter. Then it's gonna ask for this. We just do a paste. Then we press enter. So it's asking us for the region, default region name. So we just make it US East 1. US East 1. So then we press enter. Then it said default output format. That is a JSON format. So we leave it as JSON. Then we just press enter to accept the default. Now we've done the configuration, and we can move forward to creating our repository. So to create a repository, we're basically just gonna say give this command to AWS CodeCommit to do for us. So we're going to say AWS CodeCommit, which is the resource. So AWS CodeCommit creates a repository. So you can see this the command create repository. We're going to like our repository name c3 name. So you can give it any name you want to. For this session, we're going to just put it our repository as repo from CLI. So then we can also add some other features to just make our repository stand out, and like description basically, or like a tag. We just give it a description. In this situation, we just like we just say repository description, just like name repository description. So we can just say blessing repository. Blessing demo repository. So that is our description for that. Then we can just basically go through it and be sure we don't have any error in our typing, and then before we run the command. So just press enter. That's just it. We can see now our repository has been created, and then on the creation we can see the repository name as given. This is the name. So we can see the name repo from CLI. We can see our clone URL SSH. We can see that URL. Then we can see the date, last modified date. We can see repository description, blessing demo repository. This is very important. Our clone URL HTTP. The HTTP, that is basically it. So repository ID, the ARN, and the account ID. So we can see those information, and we're going to be making use very soon. We're going to be making use of our clone URL HTTPS to clone the repository. Basically, cloning entails the process of getting the repository to the local machine from the main repo. So which we're going to be doing shortly. So the next thing, we've done the various steps. We've created as a server from the Amazon Linux 2 AMI. We've been able to install Git and create our IAM CodeCommit credentials, and we've also been able to create CodeCommit repository, which we have just done now. So what we're going to be doing next is just to add a file to our CodeCommit repository. So to be able to see our repository that we have created, we've been able to see it from here. This is just the repo, but for us to see it on the console, we can go back to our console and just type CodeCommit. So we can see CodeCommit coming up here. We just click on CodeCommit. So we can see repo from CLI, blessing demo repository, created last modified 2 minutes ago. Excuse me. So we can click on this. So we'll be able to add document. We'll be able to add file to the. So we can create a fresh file and we can upload a file. So in this situation, we're just going to upload the file real quick, and we're going to choose file. So we're going to go to my download folder, and we're just going to upload a file, that we can probably use. Let's just upload this error.html file. It's basically an use for S3 static website creation. So we can just upload this, and then we're going to give it a name. Just put in my name, blessing Olaleye. Then here we're just going to type an email address. It could be any email address. olaleye@gmail.com. So basically, the purpose of this email address is just basically the author of this email address. That is, the author of this file, you know, that is doing this commit. So the commit message, you can put any message, you know, just to call attention of the dev team or of any team member that's going to work or anyone that's going to be able to access this file, in your organization or in your team. So you can just put the message here for them, so they can be able to have something that you just want them to know about. It could be in form of a tag. It could be in form of just to let them know something about the file and what it's meant for. Probably what's going to, or you might just want them to know something that is going on with the file. So you can put a message here for anyone. So just commit changes. So we can see it has been committed, and then this is it. So this is the HTML error.html file. So the next thing for us to do, we're going to go back to our terminal to do our clone. So we're just going to run to do our clone. So remember I told us we're going to see this we have here, our clone URL HTTP. So we're just going to copy this. We're going to copy this. I will try as possible to avoid copying the sign along the address. So just here we're going to run our git clone command, clone. So we're just going to paste that URL in front of it. I'm going to press enter. Upon pressing enter, for us to access this, remember from this, we need AWS CodeCommit full. Okay, we need our Git credentials to basically access it. So we've generated and downloaded our Git credentials. So what we're going to do basically is just to go and put those information so we can use it at this point. So let's just go to our download folder. Let us go to our download folder. This is Cloud User CodeCommit credentials. So we're just going to open this up, and this is it, Cloud User CodeCommit credentials. This is our username. We're going to copy this, and then we're going to go to our terminal. That is our AWS Instance Connect, and we're going to see the username. We're going to just paste it. So before I press enter, I want to go copy the password. So just copy the password on my clipboard and copy, then go back to my AWS Instance Connect, magnify it, then press enter, and this is the password. Then just put the password, press enter. So it says it's done. So our cloning has been done successfully. So basically the clone is just to pull the file and the repository down to the local machine. So we already have that, you know. At this point, we can say we can do some other things like we can check the clone by you know lx. This is the repo from CLI. We can cd into the repo directory. So cd repo from CLI. So we can ls. So now we can see, this is inside the repository. We open and we see the file in the repository. So, and we see error.html in it. And we can do several other things like run, like create a local test file, and probably just do another push. So, but for now, we're gonna just stop here for today, and I'm gonna have some other session with us some other time. Thank you once again for joining me. I hope this session enlightens you. If you probably have to go back and just listen to everything again and follow the step and be able to do one or two things that is being done. You can subscribe to my channel and click the notification button so you can get updates whenever I have a new video. Thank you once again, and God bless you.